This video was created by librarians at Southern Utah University. It will give a brief overview of what it means to synthesize information and how the synthesis matrix can help in that process. Research builds on findings that came before. It is an exchange of ideas that contribute to human knowledge. We call this scholarly conversation. To add to the conversation, you need to find out what has already been said so that you can add your own voice and findings. Researchers communicate with each other at conferences and through their publications by responding to, refuting, and expounding on the research of their colleagues. Citations act as acknowledgments to who else is in that conversation on that topic, as well as ways to borrow their authority on the subject to support your research. As someone entering the scholarly conversation, you need to listen carefully and identify what is being said in the scholarly articles and how the ideas that are being discussed in the sources connect. The conversation is particularly evident in the introduction and literature review sections of scholarly articles. Authors link their research to the scholarship that came before by discussing the ideas and citing the sources by using in-text citations that point to the full citations in the bibliography or reference section of the paper. Citing sources is done to demonstrate that the authors know the relevant ideas in their topic area, to provide credibility to their work, and to allow others to track the conversation surrounding the research. When you synthesize information, you make connections between sources. What are the major themes? Focus on ideas that are presented and think about how the information is related. Then, merge those ideas and themes. Analyze and combine multiple sources in meaningful ways. You have spent time learning about the topic and you are ready to enter the conversation. Guide the reader by making your own assertions and conclusions. Use the information sources you have as evidence to further illustrate your point. So what does information synthesis look like? Here are some examples of what a synthesis paper is and isn't. These are excerpts of 4 student papers with the highlighted parts coming directly from one of the cited sources. Each source has a unique color. The regular unhighlighted text is written by the student. Starting from the right with student D, you can see that the bulk of this paper was copied straight from a source, and only a few words are the student's own. This is plagiarism, which is a serious academic issue. Another problem with this paper is that it only uses a single source. To capture the scholarly conversation and to synthesize information, you need more sources because a conversation cannot happen with a single source. Student C is using multiple sources, but as you can see, they are not adding much of their own voice. This paper is also largely plagiarized. Student B is using their own voice a lot, which is great, but they only use a single source, so it's not enough for a synthesis. Student A is an example of good synthesis writing. The paper has pointers to multiple sources and the student is using their own voice to discuss the ideas. By providing their own interpretation on the topic, they create new meaning and add to the conversation instead of just summarizing or repeating what has already been said by others. But how do you organize and keep track of all of this information? That's where a synthesis matrix can help. A synthesis matrix is an effective tool to help organize information. It can easily be made with a table or a spreadsheet. You need one column for each source and one row for each main idea. This is what a blank synthesis matrix looks like. It's a graphical index of your sources that will help you see connections between them. Each row represents a main idea that you could talk about in your paper. Each column represents one of your sources. In the cells of the matrix, you can write a short summary about what that source says about the idea. Here is a completed synthesis matrix, although it is abbreviated for the purposes of this video. The research topic is the impact of positive reinforcement on dog behavior. The matrix uses 5 sources on the topic, columns 2 through 6. It's captured 3 ideas from the conversation on this topic: positive reinforcement, love, and bond, which you can see in rows 3 through 5. The cells contain short descriptions of how that source discusses the topic. For example, let's take the idea labeled bond. Kate and Sylvia Stashowitz say about this idea that training helps to form a bond between the dog and the trainer. China, Mills, and Cooper say nothing about this idea, so that cell is left blank. Progofsky says the bond between dogs and humans made both species successful, and that we can recreate that bond by being partners with our dogs. Tynes, 2011, says that behavior problems can ruin the bond. We can now write a brief draft paragraph about the idea of bond just using our matrix. To learn more about how to create a synthesis matrix and then how to implement it, see the accompanying 2 videos in this series.